Hello, everybody. What is going on here? The Pedro and Hannibal podcast. I'll tell you the truth right now, guys. Uh, we are kind of looking at some news that's happening right now as we speak, and it kind of killed the vibe.
Yeah.
Because I was gonna come here and gloat about the Giants going to playoffs, but right now it don't seem to be that big of a deal right now. This is currently happening as we speak. I was just watching the Bills and the Bengals game. I had it on the background on my TV, and it saw a hit. Damar Hamlin, cornerback for the Bills, took a routine hit. He was on defense, and you see the footage. He pops back up after the hit, and then immediately falls back on his he like something pushed him down.
Hannibal. I have video. Should you want to play that? Should we not? I have it. I can send it to you. What do you think?
You could share it. Is on your phone, or you have it on your?
I have it as a video. I have it. Somebody sent it to me, and
Yeah.
I could share it with you if you want to put it up. Maybe should we not do that? I don't know. This is all live. I know.
It's all live, and I'm gonna try to look for it over here.
Okay.
I'll
send you what I have.
Okay.
Yeah, man. I don't know. This is.
Yeah. So right now, they suspended the game. Right now, they're still not on the field. I'm looking at the coverage right now. People are crying. It took too long.
Let me see.
Yeah, you can say it. It took too long for everything to kind of come together. So usually, even when someone takes a really bad hit, usually maybe if it's a knockout or some kind of really bad injury, they'll have a TV timeout to go to commercials. They went to probably 3 to 4 commercials.
Dasher Poppy just said they called it game suspended.
Okay. Wow. Yeah.
This is there's a lot here.
Yeah, there's a lot. Listen,
this is a 24-year-old young man, and it's like clearly that's on the forefront, right? But yeah. I think we would be lying to ourselves if a lot of people will gloss over that if they don't play this game for other reasons. And I think it. Unfortunately, we're gonna,
Yeah.
I just hope he pulls through. Otherwise, I think this is gonna be kind of messy for different reasons.
And I appreciate everyone that coming in just to talk about this. Because it kind of killed my whole vibe when I was looking at this. I wasn't worried about anything else. I'm like, this kid can't go. He can't go like this. And Dasher Poppy, I agree. And listening to the commentators, like, yeah, I've been in the game. Most of them are former players. Like, I've never seen this before. What is going on? And if you want to go on Twitter and see some goddamn conspiracy theories.
Are you serious? Really?
Oh, wow. Oh, heavily.
I bet.
About the jab. And when you see the hit.
The jab, really?
Oh, yeah. Let me see. Pages gave me the footage.
I see what you're saying because he's vaccinated.
Yeah.
Wow.
And that's just where we are right now. That's where we are right now. That's the nature of, how quickly the messages are coming through. I was going to ask you the question too. If you were in that position,
man,
would you? I mean, they suspended it, and you saw Stephon Gibbs was trying to hype his troops up, like because he was like, we gotta, he was. I'll be honest, I don't know if he was hyping his troops up. He may have said, we can't play. I don't know, but
I really like the team. Side note, I like Stephon Diggs a lot.
Oh yeah, big fan.
A big fan of Diggs.
It's really hard not to like the Bills.
It is. Even the quarterback, the coach. There isn't anybody on that team that isn't just. Anyways, you're right. I didn't know about this till Hannibal. My phone was blowing up on my fantasy football group text, but I wasn't paying attention because I'm not in the championship game. But these guys blowing up, and I just see like 50 messages, and now I know why. So I don't know, man. This is I'm worried because I think that. With all the fantasy football, the playoffs, both these teams, it's suspended.
Two good teams. Like this is good.
I think if this young man, I hope he pulls through because if not, I think a lot of people are going to be not looking at this in a way that they should. I could be wrong, but I understand if you're telling me what's going on Twitter. I can't imagine what's happening in fantasy football forums. People they're mad. What happened? And they're not thinking about this young man that just had CPR performed on him in the middle of a field. I mean,
yeah. I would give respect to all the news sources, like watching on ESPN. They immediately did not care about the game. They were like, "This is not important." They're worried about this young man. No breakdown of the game. They really were focused on this because it doesn't happen. Hector had an interesting comment. Appreciate you guys for coming in, guys. This is why I believe one day the NFL will not exist anymore.
What do you mean, Hector? Because of the violency of it, or why do you say that? What do you think he means?
NFL is I would say, NFL is the most violent sport. And you know what? It's that in boxing. I always said that. Even UFC
with the CTE or whatever.
Because you get too many hits to your body in football and boxing. Boxing, a lot of punches to the head. That's not good for your brain. MMA, there's a little bit more, as a little bit of everything. And then eventually, if you get knocked out too many times, then they're gonna let you put you back in anyway. But NFL is a very violent sport. He may have just got hit really hard in that chest, but
it was like the wind knocked out of him, but like in a way that he lost his breath and his heart didn't. If you're administering CPR, that means they're not breathing on their own. Am I right in thinking that, or am I wrong?
Yeah, okay. From the last thing I've seen, and I know a few guys, like, they're gonna probably have an official statement. He has a pulse, but he's not breathing on his own, and they rush him to the hospital. So he's gonna probably have to be administered, obviously they're able to breathe. I don't know. I wonder if he has any prior.
That's what I was just gonna ask.
Health issues.
Yeah, you know how sometimes you have a prior health issue, or like I think, remember, the basketball player Chris Bosh, right? He had some heart failure things going on, and a doctor basically told him, "Hey, you got to stop, otherwise you might die on the court." Like, it's a possibility.
Right.
So he had to stop playing basketball a little bit before I think he wanted to.
Yeah, of course. He was still one of the best.
He was still
power forwards,
right? So I wonder if this kid has some kind of family history with something. Maybe something wasn't caught, and this particular way that his body hit the other guy's body, and then he lands down on him with a lot of force. I wonder if that had something.
It's possible. I know one of my really good friends. I consider him like a brother. He had heart problems. He did not know until he fell ill. I remember dropping him off at we doing our usual drinking a lot at the bar. Dropped him off his house. Then a day, maybe a couple hours later, he had to go to the emergency room. He realized that one of his valves was blocked. He did not know. He never, because a lot of those issues with your heart, if you're not. And a lesson for all of us. We don't know exactly what's going to happen with Damar Hamlin, and hopefully he pulls through. If you don't go to the doctor, get routine checks with your body, especially your heart, things can pop up and you don't know. And I was talking to you obviously in the backstage before we started. They have the best doctors in the world. These multi-million-dollar facilities.
And they have nutritionists and all the, so these guys are taken care of, and a lot of them will even take care of themselves off. They'll do extra off.
Exactly. LeBron spends $1 million on his body.
Yeah.
It's. But sometimes you don't find everything on a person, right? Unless usually you go to a doctor because something has happened, right? Like, I don't feel well, or maybe like how often do we do routine checkups? I'll be honest right now. I don't remember the last time I was going to say,
when was the last time you had one? I have them a little more regularly than the average person my age, because I have type 1 diabetes.
Yeah.
And for me, like, I do certain things I probably shouldn't, but I do regulate myself in a positive way and get checked up regularly just to make sure I'm good with the A1C levels and glucose. And, I have to check my extremities. Like, there's things, my feet, my hand, my eye checks. But as far as like, and I could probably do more though. I basically do every three to 4 months. I should probably do it every 2 or 3. But it is what it is. But I think you're right. We don't, as men, I think we don't do that enough because we think we're like, once again, that pride and ego, or we think, we'll be fine, we'll be okay, we'll rub some dirt on it. We got to get ourselves checked out. I had the thought of getting my stuff together. I have the insurance. It's just busy, or it's not even busy. You don't think it's important. Like, I don't think it's important enough because I feel fine. But definitely this year, definitely gonna be taking that more seriously, because you never know. Like, sometimes things get, if the doctor can find something that
can save your life potentially, put you in a different direction. Hey, you probably shouldn't be eating this, or you shouldn't be consuming that because it can can seriously get you damaged. But yeah, when you go on Twitter, tons and tons of jab talk, tons and tons, and I feel like some people are looking for something
a reason to bring that up.
Because how divided we are.
How divided one side. Yeah, it's
and there's a documentary. It's a really controversial one. It's called "Died Suddenly." I didn't watch it yet, but the premise of that documentary is that they're saying that people are passing away unexpectedly, and a lot of this has something to do with the jab. I haven't watched it.
I have not seen or heard. I've seen some things about how people are saying, oh, if you didn't get the jab, you're like better. You got pure blood. Like you see these crazy little memes, these cute videos where like in 20 years, women are going to be like fawning over men that didn't get the jab, and they're going to be, like high dollar value people and like all this and all that. But like, I haven't seen the conspiracy stuff necessarily that you're talking about,
Yeah, it depends on how deep in the rabbit hole you want to go and to read and see this kind of stuff. Random Ryan. A kid died from drinking too much water when football practice.
I remember some story. There was a Vikings player about 15 years ago or so. He was an offensive lineman, and during training camp, he died. I remember that story. He was, and I don't know if it was a dehydration issue or something else, but and since then, there's a rule now where you can only practice for so long, and they've instituted some safety measures for players. After that happened, I can't remember his name. Corey Stringer, I think his name was. And he was like 22, 23, super young. I don't know if you guys remember that guy or not.
Yeah. And Skip Bayless provided a really I'll show you the tweet. You let me know how it goes. And this was 43 minutes ago. I'm gonna pop it up on the screen.
You say Skip Bayless?
Skip Bayless. He's already trending because he probably too fast of a take.
I'm not a big fan of Skip Bayless.
Too fast of a take. He wrote, no doubt the NFL is considering postponing the rest of the game, but how? This late in the season, a game this magnitude is crucial to the regular season outcome, which suddenly seems so irrelevant.
Yeah, see, that's exactly what I was afraid of. That something like that, because he's not thinking of this kid. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He's
and it's 9:30, but that's still too early to like. You should really. But that's the problem with our social media. We need to respond as fast as possible. Yeah. And you don't even have all the information yet. Like that kid could have died. It's possible a kid died or dying right now.
He's talking about this.
Yeah. The game,
like just saying, sending my prayers to the young man. I hope for him and his family. I hope he's doing okay. Yeah. That would have been a more appropriate thing to say, Skip Bayless. This is the reason why I don't like him.
I don't watch it. I tried to watch it. It's for a few months. I've stopped watching a lot of those first take, hot take sports shows. They're not breaking down the game.
Yeah.
I'm sure they know the game, but they're looking for the ratings, so they think, let me say the most outrageous things possible.
You're right.
And, if the person they don't know if the person's going to live or die, the game doesn't matter. They could find ways to reschedule. They could figure out some way to.
Yeah. They're going to play the game, guys. There's not that will happen if they have to push back something, reschedule, they can do that, right? So the game should be like what's important right now, because that stuff will work itself out,
Yeah, 2020 proved that things could get suspended and gets restarted again. They can push the whole thing back a week to regroup because they were going to try to play the game. Yeah. And again, I think Stefan Diggs, I think he was trying to rally the troops. I saw some of that footage. But then I think either the officials in New York, because you know how the NFL is, they have their officials, but they have like the main office in New York that watches all the games, kind of supersedes. They supersedes everybody. They were like, this never happened before. Let's go back in the locker room and then figure this out. Because I think they wanted to have an official word of, like, let's say, for instance, and I wish this would happen. He comes to, he's breathing on his own. He has all the extremities. they would go back out and play. And if they would have figured it out sooner than later, that would have.
But could you imagine he doesn't pull through? They're out there playing a football game, and his teammate. You know what I'm saying? Like there's just a lot. There's a lot to. I think there's maybe arguments on both sides. I don't know, but at the end, like when something like this happens, I think earlier somebody said, "I've never seen anything like this," and you said the commentators were saying that. You know, administering CPR, we see guys getting carted off. We see them maybe a neck brace. Right. We see all carried off. You know, we see that kind of stuff. We've seen Joe Theismann back in the day. Lawrence Taylor basically broke his whole fibula, his whole leg in half. Yeah. You know, we've seen that, but then you realize, okay, he's not dying. No, possibly, right? There's a difference there, right? So when something like this happens, you got to pause and kind of reflect a little bit. And even as players, you know, how do you go back out there and play? These guys are all brothers, man, right? Yeah. These guys
many of them were getting emotional because it was taking too long. And then when you see someone perform CPR for 10 minutes, first of all, that is not good. Yeah. That is not good. That is some brain. It's not getting the proper blood and oxygen through. And, you know, again, I don't want to guess. I'm not a doctor, but when you see someone you care about being having CPR for several minutes, you start to freak out. You're like, this is not good. Ryan says, you know, to be honest, NFL didn't resume games because of optics. And you know what? That's good. If they worried about optics, they should, because the only thing I could kind of think of, and it's kind of related, but not really, because the WWE is not, so it's not real, but they are athletes and they really put their bodies online. I remember this many years ago. Owen Hart. Actually, my mom brought me that pay-per-view. It was, I think, the Valentine's Day Massacre. You know, they put these names on WWE. And one of the, I guess I forgot what Owen Hart's thing was, but
he was part of a crew or a posse or something, right? Wasn't he part of? He was something.
He had a couple of fractions, but I think this one was he had a mask on. They didn't tell him what he was yet, but it was Owen Hart. And his bit was he'll come down from the rafters. He strapped himself and he'll come down the rafters. A few people did that. Sting for WCW. It's a common thing. Shawn Michaels did it. Problem is, in this situation, the straps weren't on him properly and he fell from the rafters into the ring. They administer CPR. They take him out. They take him to the emergency, obviously to the hospital. The man dies. They continue with the wrestling show. Vince McMahon thought it was good to continue with the show because in his mind, it's pay-per-view, can't cancel it, and
lose hundreds of millions of dollars probably at that point, right?
And it was the most awkward show. There was no enthusiasm. You see the commentators crying. They trying to call a performance after they knew that their friend died. That was not a good look. So I'm wondering.
You can't. How do you watch the game as a fan? How do you play it as a player? How do you coach it? How do you call that game? But knowing what just happened, and we all, that's all you're going to be able to talk about. So the game at that point becomes like not that important. It's a game, right? We love football. We talk about football. We talk about football here, but it's a game. So at the end of the day, like, think about his mom. Think about
he has a kid.
Significant other, his child. Like, think about his dad. Like, they're probably at the game or they're definitely watching the game. Think about seeing your dad like collapse on the field. I mean, it's bigger than football,
Yeah. Someone wrote in a response to Skip. He said, "My brother in Christ, put down your phone. Like, just put the phone down." Because you're just coming across like a complete asshole. So they suspended the game, and he is listed as critical condition. That's what ESPN popped on my phone. That's
number 3.
That's him.
Number 3. Okay.
Yeah, that's him, showing a little bit of. He's a good dude.
I don't know much about him. I don't. He's not on my radar as far as like a superstar player, but he's in the league and he's playing. He's obviously legit,
on a really great team.
Really good team.
Fantastic really good defense. Defense. So he's his cornerback, so he's definitely a very important part of it. It is. But he kind of, hopefully he makes it, and You know, I mean, you got to make it, but you never know.
And I just saw that sign. Can you put that back up? I don't know if you guys are that one. Okay. I don't know if you guys are aware of this. Buffalo does a fantastic job as a fan base collecting like for charitable organizations in names of players and this and that. Like they get together. They're known. They get together and like literally every game there's like $1 million going into something, right?
Yeah.
And they, I would not be surprised. I'm sure. I would bet my paycheck that these fans are going to pull together and do something in a positive way, regardless of what happens to this young man, because Buffalo's kind of known for that.
Yeah.
So just be on the lookout for that. They'll try to do something positive and give in any way that they can. I'm sure the NFL will do the same, but Buffalo does it on their own really well. So
yeah, they call themselves the Bills Mafia. They care about the city.
Yeah.
They care about the players. When that snow storm dropped, I don't know how many feet. They helped the players dig out of their car vehicles. Like I think it was one player had his entire pickup truck swallowed, and some of the Bills Mafia came and helped him out. Like that's the kind of fans they have. So it's just unfortunate that happened, and I hope it works out. I mean, I guess if there's anything anything else that happens, just let us know. I'm checking on social media, but right now it just says he's in critical.
Somebody put a link. A doctor talked about this on YouTube. I don't know. Let me, without you showing it, let me click on this link real quick and see. Yeah, somebody, Damar Hamlin collapsed on field. There's a doctor that's giving his, I guess, take on it or something is what that video is. But
all right. I mean, it's hard to know because none of us are there. And the NFL got their official statement out. They're just saying, tonight the Buffalo Bills game has been postponed. The NFL commissioner Roger Goodell announced. Hamlin received immediate medical attention on the field by the team and independent medical staff. Again, the NFL has the best doctors in the country, so they trust me. The most
he's getting great care.
Yeah, the top doctors are waking up, or if they've been sleeping on it, they have to go to that hospital. They got to figure out what's going on. So they got to make sure this is a $14 billion business. You got to make sure that they're doing the best possible thing right now. He was tackling T. Higgins.
Yeah,
big dude.
Receiver. Yeah,
big dude. And T got him in the chest a little bit. Now it wasn't a head injury. First I thought maybe he got hit in the head, but when you watch it and he goes in a slow motion, you see he gets more of a chest impact compared to a head injury. But this is scary. And it's interesting too. Like you're talking about player safety. Tua Tagovailoa, how many different concussion protocols until you say, hey, you can't play for the rest of the season?
Yeah.
And is he still playing? I think he's going to play again.
He didn't play this last week.
No.
Because and then one guy, who knows? I mean, they've lost like 5 games in a row. They're not.
They need him.
They're looking really bad. So at this point, like I think they're still mathematically in it, but so they need to win this next week. But who knows? I mean, is that important? If one more hit,
and he looked really bad that last one, right? That was scary, and we all kind of moved on.
His
past
hands
it.
Were kind of like
his brain was shut off. His brain, and that's the thing too about combat sports. When it's time to hang it up, when you realize that hey. You can't fight anymore is how quickly your brain is shutting off due to trauma. Yeah. Where your brain is literally telling you, stop. You know what? I'm going to shut off because this is too much battering. It's we're going to not have this brain working. So anytime you even get touched in the chin, we're going to turn off.
Yeah.
It's probably somewhat of a trauma to his chest. I agree with Dash and Poppy. He got hit really hard in the chest, but also we've seen worse hits and they pop back up and they move on to the next.
It's funny.
Play, right?
Well, it's with. I think with obviously I'm not a doctor. Okay, Hannibal and I are doctors.
No doctors here. No.
But one thing you hear doctors say, or you see certain things. The body is such a fragile thing on the inside, right? Think about something happens and doctors say, "Oh, if it would have been a millimeter to the left, you would be dead or you would be paralyzed."
Yeah.
So things are very the body can be fragile, right? So we see a massive hit like Hannibal. We've seen crazy, if you go on the internet and look up like crazy NFL hits, I mean, you'll see it. They're like, how's that guy even pop up? How is he not in the hospital for a week, right?
Yeah.
And you see something like this, kind of a routine play, but the helmet might hit a certain part of the chest, and his breathing pattern was a certain way, and he lost a breath, and then everything is kind of connected. So I just put the prayers up for him, and hopefully he's okay, and he could play again if he wants to or chooses to or whatever. And hopefully this is just kind of, you learn something from it as a league. I don't know what that would be, because it is a dangerous sport, but they're doing a lot I think they're doing a better job than ever before with protecting players in some regard. I think, a lot of us as fans, we get mad. Oh my God, he barely even touched the quarterback, or this or that, and all the flags and concussion protocol. Like, you got to be clear now. They are putting more measures than ever. You hear these old players that even just played in the early 2000s, and especially the OGs that played in the 70s, 80s, they like, we didn't have any of this. Like, we saw stars and we went right back in, right? Like, they talk about that, or they get them a certain shot, or they do this, they do that. I don't think they can really get away with that right now. But what else can they do? I don't know. I mean,
yeah, and that's why a lot of people say they may not like the direction the league is going, but there's been too much. It's been too many stories about players with really bad CTE and how it affects them later in life. Like, Junior Seau, what happened to him? Aaron Hernandez, he had a brain of a 7-year-old. Yet he was in his 20s, to a point where he did a lot of fairly erratic behavior because his brain took too many hits. So, the game would be a little different. It's still going to be violent. You're putting on your pads, you got your helmet, you're going really fast. And that's the thing, too, about NFL. The game is so quick. We don't necessarily understand it because we're watching on TV. But these are very strong, powerful men going 100 miles